Hey everyone, today we're heading back into the jungle with the Jungle Explorer waterplane from LEGO City, although it seems that we're very far from any city. The set comes with these really cool animals, this nice plane, and some other stuff we'll see if we open the box. I just want to point out the beautiful box art that we see here in the background. That's always nice to see. So the set comes with these 3 numbered bags as well as 2 instruction manuals. First one for this little build right here, and then the second one for bags 2 and 3 that build the waterplane, which is the main focus of the set. Of course, we will not be using any of these instructions, so we'll just set them to the side. I will only be using the building phases, meaning the last instruction step for each of the bags. Let's get started with bag 1. So bag 1 builds this side build, these 2 large alligators, as well as this tiny little one, and this minifigure. We'll look at everything in more detail at the end, but now let's move on to bag 2. So bag 2 gives us most of the airplane, at least the body of it, the propeller, and this minifigure. Bag 3 builds this bottom part of the plane as well as this top, and then the rest should be very easy to put together like this. Actually pretty satisfying. And this will go in like this, and we are done with the build. So the set comes with 2 minifigures, a photographer as well as a pilot. You can of course assign them other roles as you see fit, and because they both use gender-neutral torsos, you can swap the parts between them as well if you prefer. Here's a better look at the photographer. She has this winking face when she is trying to take a picture, and there's another expression for her as well when she's just relaxing or observing the beautiful jungle scenery. And she gets a printed compass as well, and the hairpiece has a hole for any accessories if you have any accessories from LEGO Friends. This flower here is a nice example, and it's fitting with the jungle theme, although unfortunately it's not included in the set, so you'll have to get it separately, but it's pretty easy to find. The pilot, on the other hand, is none other than Chris McVeigh. Here's what he looks like with the goggles down. A little bit goofy in my opinion, much better with the goggles up. And this is quite a classic helmet that we used to see way back in the first half of the 1900s. And there's of course no alternative expression. And we've seen this guy before in the Arctic, in the Natural History Museum, and many other places like the LEGO delivery truck, but here he is flying this plane. So yeah, if you want to have fun, go become a LEGO designer and you'll have so much fun. And his shirt is really well done as well. A Hawaiian shirt with a jacket over it. That's pretty cool. So 2 very nice minifigures to get with the set. I wish it would have included a child as well. A child who's going along for jungle exploration, since this is a 6+ set that's primarily intended for children. I also want to point out that the Chris minifigure also comes with this printed map that shows some alligators, some terrain, and some water as well. So it's a nice representation of the jungle. And maybe it's a throwback to a real-world location or some location within the LEGO City universe. The set also includes this crocodile or alligator mold, 2 of the large ones, so it has quite a scary bite. Yeah, that's the way to do it. 6 studs at the top, lots of anti-studs at the bottom, so you can place it wherever you need to. And then there's this red pin here used to allow the tail to articulate with friction, although I wish the color here was not red. And yeah, there's no printing except for the eyes right here, but they are very well done, very crisp printing. And I like the olive green color. I think it will go very well with the Natural History Museum. We also got this much smaller alligator or crocodile in sand green. And here's a size comparison between the 2 animals of various sizes. And let's see, can this crocodile devour an entire minifigure? Not quite. But this still makes for very interesting poses. So make sure you like the video to make sure you save Chris from being eaten by the alligator. The set also includes this small terrain build. There's a lime green frog, a little bit of water, a tree, and this foliage piece. What you see is what you get here. I don't think we need to talk about this for hours and hours. It's pretty decent, pretty simple. And so let's just take note of these connection points and move on. We'll come back to this later. And then finally, what you're all here for, the Jungle Explorer waterplane itself. So this is a nice build. it came together pretty slowly at the beginning, but then faster and faster as you reach towards the end. It has this propeller that spins very nicely, and yeah, I love the way if you spin it fast enough, you can't even see the blades anymore, just like the real thing. It is unfortunately not motorized, but we cannot expect that at this scale. There's lots of studs on the side construction to have this nice smooth finish, so that is very appreciated. I like the pattern here, the color pattern. You have orange and then blue and then white. It's all very consistent. A little bit of olive green here, which again ties to the jungle exploration sub-theme as well as the natural history museum. And I like how they have these details here, like the lights, green on the right, red on the left, just like a real airplane. It's very educational for kids. Then we can put both of the minifigures inside here. Here's a quick look at the cockpit just before we do that. So it looks pretty comfortable, if a bit tight, but we have here some controls. And the seats have only 2 studs each instead of 4, so it's easy to put and remove the minifigures. Actually, Chris got tired of flying, so she's going to fly instead. And unfortunately, Chris wanted to take some pictures with his camera, or with her camera, just to take the views from above, but unfortunately there's no way to fit the camera in a minifigure's hand when they're on an airplane because it's a bit tight. If we were to modify the set a little bit and make the minifigure sit back by 1 stud, then we would be able to fit the camera in their hand. So I recommend making that modification if you're going to build this set, especially if you want to keep it long term and play with it. Other than that, here's what the canopy looks like. This is perfectly symmetrical, so you put it on this way or this way, it does not matter, it's the exact same thing, which is nice, especially for young kids who might not be able to tell the difference easily. So there's what the minifigures look like in the plane, but I wish the space usage here was better. I do love the printed piece right here. It's printed on both sides, and this print is similar enough to the LEGO Classic Space logo, so if they use this logo long term, maybe 30 years from now it will be as recognizable as the Classic Space logo, especially if you start seeing it everywhere in all the themes and stuff. So I hope that LEGO sticks with this and makes it a consistent thing. And yeah, I already said this, but I love the propeller here. It's very high play value. I love to make it spin. Alright, so for this set, we got 2 minifigures. You get this plane, you get these 2 very nice crocodile molds, and the smaller one. We've also got a few pieces as well that we can use with the various minifigures and swap between them. And we do get this wrench as well that I did not mention before, that can be used by either of the minifigures to fix the plane, for example. So that's pretty cool to get. And we get this terrain build here, and I did mention that we'll go back to it because of these connection points. So while each of these sets are great on their own, together I think they make the most sense as part of one coherent theme. So this is the set that I built and reviewed today. This is the polybag from earlier in June, as well as the Jungle Explorer ATV. So you can see the boxes and the set numbers over there. I built everything here without instructions, by the way. So the minifigures, I think they make sense together. They all are dressed in a similar way, so you could swap the parts between them, although there's only one woman here. The vehicles have a consistent color scheme, and here I'm talking about these 2 specifically, the plane and the ATV. And the animals, of course, they're always good to get. Each one gives you a different animal. But then the terrain builds is where it gets fun, so we could connect these together and form a cohesive system. So here's one example of what that could look like. Of course, we could rotate these around to give different looks. We can move this one over here, for example. So yeah, you could experiment with the order of these terrains to figure out what is the best look for you. I like this one because the frogs are staring at each other. And of course, you can move the individual pieces around, like this flower, etc., and put it wherever you like. So it's a really nice idea, and I'm happy that LEGO has these systems within systems. You see that baby gorilla is looking very happy, by the way. So one of the things that's really cool is that you can merge LEGO Star Wars with LEGO City, specifically the jungle exploration sub-theme. It's a really nice idea. It's completely compatible. You see here on both sides, this clip system is really nice and convenient. So you as a child or as an adult can build your own custom mocks and mix together various themes to your liking. Although this is not 100% conforming with Star Wars canon, because Mandalore is no longer green and lush, but of course you can make your own stories and invent new planets and new stories and just make it however you want. So again, this is the Ambush on Mandalore Battle Pack, which I built and reviewed recently, always without instructions. And yeah, you can somehow make these figures work with these figures to tell a cohesive story, and maybe the Imperial commanders or their Mandalorian warriors can steal this plane and use it for their own purposes because their usual stuff is out of service. So yeah, you can imagine multiple stories, and maybe they're riding alligators instead. So that's the beauty of the LEGO system in general, and I like that this basically makes kids think about merging all their sets together and making their own custom stuff. LEGO needs to be careful when it comes to licensed stuff like Star Wars and Marvel. They cannot mix and match, like they cannot mix this with LEGO City or LEGO Friends, but as a customer, either a child or an adult, they have no such restrictions. You can do pretty much whatever you want with your LEGO pieces once you get them. So that's the beauty of LEGO, in my opinion. So now it's time to talk about price and value. I really like this set, in case you couldn't tell. I don't have any complaints about it, except maybe some minor nitpicks, but even then, it has everything that I would expect from this scale at this price. The set costs $23 US on the official LEGO store, although you can get it for $20 in other places like Amazon, and it costs 25 Canadian, which I think is a reasonable price. The official Lego.com price for the US does not make sense, like 23 versus 25. I would expect it to be just $20 US, but since you can get it $20 from other retailers, you can just go ahead and do that unless LEGO has a really, really good gift with purchase. But 25 Canadian seems reasonable. Of course, if you can find it even cheaper, that's even better, not an absolute requirement. So yeah, the plane is good. We've taken a look at it, and we've looked at the terrain and how this combines with other builds. Minifigures are good, although I wish there was a third child minifigure just to add more to the play value. The alligators are good, so these are nice to get, especially in the olive green. So yeah, that's all I have to say for this set. What do you think? Are you going to get this set? Did you already get it, or do you want to get it soon? Let me know in the comments down below, and make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss my next video. Bye for now.